Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Tittle Tattle Tarot. It's Georgie. And today is the 2nd of June. And I thought, why not do an On This Day in History and see what was happening on the 2nd of June? Oh, many, many years ago. Let's go back to 1692. So we're talking about 17th century America, Massachusetts. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? The Salem Witch Trials. So, first woman to be tried at the Salem Witch Trials was Bridget Bishop. Bit of a tongue twister, that one. Bridget Bishop. Yes, she was, she was tried for being a witch, and the trial started on this day, 2nd of June. Yeah. So now I just want to find out a bit about her. You can look her up and you can find out all about her life. I'm not going to go into too much of details about it because it's actually the 2nd of June that we want to concentrate on. But yeah. So this woman, I think she was born in about 1632. So when she was tried, she was 60, so she wasn't a spring chicken, and she'd had 3 marriages. So tell me a bit about this woman. Tell me a bit about this woman. I've got the straightforward Rider-Waite tarot here. Let's see what we've got. Tell me about her. Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Well, she was a woman that didn't really fit in, that's for sure. Your Queen of Pentacles, this is your Earth Mother, the woman who is at the centre of the community, who will look after things. She's a great mom, she's a great housekeeper, she's a great wife. There's nothing really this woman can't do, and she can multitask, and she'd be the kind of woman that all the other women would look at and say, she's got it sorted. She's got all her pentacles in order, she knows what she's doing. Very capable woman. Now, this woman, Bridget Bishop, she's coming up as Queen of Pentacles in reverse. So, not so grounded. Bit sort of feet in the air, bit sort of flighty, I reckon, even at 60. A bit of a non-conformist, let's put it like that. I think that's a very kind way of putting it. So let's just put this, where should we put it? Put it there so we can still see it. So this is telling us about Bridget Bishop. Didn't really fit in, didn't fit in at all, actually. So now, we're in this very peculiar time, aren't we? And everyone is like a mass hysteria, isn't it, around that time? She's on her 3rd husband, and this poor woman, she'd had children dying, and her first husband died, and oh my God, she came from England, actually. I think it was Norwich. Came from England. So let's just have another little card here. What do we got here? Page of Cups. Yeah, and she came from England over to America. Page of Cups, and that's like your she had a child in England, and her and her husband, they moved over to America, as I remember. And Page of Cups is like that, full of hope. It's a light-hearted, joyous card. So I think there was all this expectation of how life was going to be in America, and they rocked up in Salem, and I don't think things turned out the way they expected. The husband died and the baby died, but the journey over to England was like a fresh start, fun, exciting, fresh start. And it's sad because show me some more how it actually went, how this fresh start actually went for Bridget Bishop. The Fool, yes. So a new venture. And this was it, the land, this very strange land, all that time it took to get there. So how were things actually for her? How were things for Bridget Bishop? Hard work. Really hard work, having to put in a lot of time and energy and work. I believe that, she got through a few husbands, and she opened up a tavern, I believe. Her last husband died, and there was a big lot of debt, and the house got turned into a kind of tavern. So this is working, a lot of effort going into this tavern to make money to support herself and whatever child she had at the time. I think it might have been a boy that she had, but you can look into all this and find out. But she was this Queen of Pentacles in reverse, and she didn't fit in. She didn't fit in. She was a single woman and just had a strange way about her. Nowadays we'd probably say, oh, she's just a bit of a maverick, a little bit of a little bit of a free spirit, perhaps. That's what we'd say now. But then, of course, a sign of the witch, wasn't it? Being different from everybody else. You wanted to be exactly the same as everybody else. So what are we going to say about this woman? When they took it to court, and it was like the first day of this court trial in on the 2nd of June, on today's date, all those hundreds of years ago, people were collapsing in the courtroom because it's a witch, and they were collapsing. Knight of Cups, and her husband had died, and they're saying, well, it's the devil's work. Knight of Cups. So that's a very kind card, the Knight of Cups. And I think that, her husband had been quite good to her. Her last husband, I think she'd had husbands before that weren't so good, but I think her last husband was pretty all right with her, Knight of Cups. But I think he found her a difficult woman because she was this maverick. But the message that went out from her was not a good communicator. It was blocked communication. It wasn't like, oh, she's a good woman, she means well, and she's the Queen of Pentacles, and kind heart, and send this message out. No, it was like, well, she's not right, and communication blocked. So I think people felt sorry for her husband. I think that's probably what this is, this Knight of Cups. I think people felt very sorry for her husband. And it was like, oh, this poor man. And I don't know whether he died as well. But, certainly a lot of death around her. And that made, made it all very blocked energy. And, of course, the thought of anyone being a witch, well, you didn't have to do very much to be considered a witch back then, did you? So they said that, in the trial, they said, well, she's got a third nipple. Well, I don't know how they knew, but some of the women said, well, she's got a third nipple, so that's a sign of a witch. And, this is the 6 of Cups here. This is your card here of looking back at the past, all things good. This is your nostalgia card, remembering things the way they used to be. Well, this is not remembering things the way they used to be. So I think this sort of whole statement, oh, she's got a third nipple, well, that's not true at all. And she didn't have, but I can't imagine a woman back then saying, well, no, have a look, I haven't. So it was all just hearsay, wasn't it? People could say what they liked, and there's no way anyone's going to start flashing their bits around and proving that they haven't. So yeah, it was the nostalgia of this, that's nostalgia, correct and right, and thinking back to how things were. Well, no, that's not how things were. She didn't have this third appendage at all. No. So they said that when this tavern was being renovated, they knocked through some walls, and there were they wouldn't have called them voodoo dolls, but they were like little cloth dolls with pins in. So we'd say voodoo dolls now, but there were voodoo dolls in the walls. Well, yes. But, you've got to think this tavern had been there long before she moved in. So, they could have belonged to anyone. How was she going to put voodoo dolls in the walls? But, of course, these little cloth dolls have been found with pins in, and they said, well, it's all a sign of witchcraft, she's casting spells. And, of course, that made her absolutely an outcast. Look at this even looks quite witchy, doesn't it? This figure here, it all looks very, very isolated and outcast. And, well, yes, to the nth degree, she was totally ostracized and called a witch. And this was all just feeding into this frenzy of these trials, mass hysteria spreading like a plague. So yeah, I mean, she was hanged, I think you say, don't you? I don't think you say hung, I think you say hanged. She was hanged. So was she just a woman who just didn't march to other people's drum, march to her own beat? Is that what it was? Is that what she was? the Emperor in reverse. I think so. This is the Emperor. I mean, this is very male energy. Now, it doesn't mean to say that's not a female, but the Emperor is very wise, very strong. When the Emperor's in reverse, it's a little bit control freak, and it's sort of a little bit narcissistic. I don't think she was a cute and cuddly woman at all. I think she was very strong, said exactly what she thought. Emperor in reverse, I think she was prone to anger as well. I think, I don't know, but that's the kind of feeling that I'm getting. Emperor in reverse. So no, she was not a pushover, and she would turn around and say to people exactly what she thought, and this got her into a lot of trouble. So she was hanged, found guilty only a few days later. So when she went into that trial on the 2nd of June, on this day in history, when she went into it, how was she feeling? How was she feeling? Well, she thought that, I've got a chance here. 7 of Cups, I'll say what happened and who I am, and I'll speak the truth. And, 7 of Cups, I've got choices in my life, and, surely it won't be that bad. I think that she actually went into it thinking that, she could very likely come out of it and be okay, because I believe she said, I'm not a witch. I'm not a witch. And then the judge said, well, how do you know? How do you know if you're not a witch? How do you know you're not a witch? How do you know what a witch is? You must know what a witch is to know you're not one. So it didn't matter what she said, they had the better of her. So let's just have one last card for this poor lady, which, a witch. Well, no, I think that she was just a very strong woman, very determined. Empress in reverse. Well, yeah, this is how they saw her. Again, a bit like the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. She was not a good woman. So yeah, the Empress in reverse. If you're the Empress, you're the Earth Mother. You're the mother who has the children, who is fertile, and the land around you grows wonderful crops. You encourage people. Everything around you blooms. The Empress is a beautiful card. Up the other way, well, everything's dying around her. As far as people could see, husbands had died, children had died, voodoo dolls in the wall. Oh my God, it all sounds terrible. And of course, all this mass hysteria bigging this whole thing up. So yeah, so on the 2nd of June, in this day in history, this poor woman, Bridget Bishop, yeah, she had the first day of her trial, and she was the first woman to be hanged in the Salem witch trials. So look into her. There are all kinds of things you can find out about her marriages, and, all about this tavern, this inn that she had. I'm not going into all that. This is just the general energy about what people thought. Yeah, they certainly thought she was a witch. She got hanged for being one. Was she one? Was she one? I don't believe she was. Let's see what the cards say. Was she a witch? No, I don't think she was at all. We've got here the 9 of Swords. This is your sleepless night. This is, the absolute disaster. And when it's that way up, it's just like never ending. This is a nightmare she couldn't escape from. Very, very different times. You couldn't just pack your bag and go. You couldn't just get on a plane and say, oh, well, I've had enough of this. I'm off. She was stuck there in Salem, and this nightmare was never ending. No, I don't believe she was a witch. Of course not. She was just a very different woman. And back in those days, to be different, to be strong, different, opinionated, slightly different style of being, that got you tagged with being a witch. So poor old Bridget Bishop. Think of her today, on this day in history, 1692. There she was, standing in the dock, being accused of witchcraft. So there we go. Have a nice day, and I shall see you again very soon for another one. You take care. Bye-bye.